Hello everyone. On today's podcast, I'm going to continue from where I left off. I still, I told you in the last podcast that I still have some things in my mind, you know, and once I'm done with it, I'll try to move on to something else, a different subject. But, the last thing that I have to talk about is Satan. Where does Satan come in all this? So if you're someone who's ever read your Bible or who's ever been told about, Satan, you notice that in the Bible it states that Satan, after causing mischief in heaven, was cast down to earth. So if you're ever wondering where Satan is not in hell. Satan was never kicked to hell, and then escaped and came to earth. Satan was kicked down from heaven straight to earth. And that's where sin has always been. When Jesus was walking around here, sin was there, When Moses was around, sin was there. When Job was around, sin was there. When Adam and Eve was around, sin was still there. So sin has always been with us on earth, here on earth. So, but do not fear Satan. Satan is not, someone who's more powerful than God. Do not think of Satan as some sort of omnipotent being who can do whatever he wants. Satan is nothing more than an adversary. And that's all Satan is. Sin is really not that important. If you really think about things, as long as you follow God, do not, and avoid doing evil things, you don't have to worry about sin very much. Sin doesn't go after kind people. Sin is, you don't get punished for being kind in this world. It may seem like you do. You get punished for being fake, yes. You get punished for being manipulative, yes. But just being a kind-hearted person, you really don't get punished for being a kind-hearted person. A truly kind-hearted person. Not someone who's only kind because God's around. Not someone who's only kind because he's afraid of Satan. Not someone who's only kind because he's afraid of hell, But a genuinely kind person who's only kind because he likes being kind to others. He only cares about others because he likes, caring about others. He's not doing it for any benefits whatsoever. If you're someone who can be that type of person, you will realize Satan is nowhere around you. Do you know why? Because the word Satan means the adversary. You understand? Satan's job, after Satan was kicked down from heaven, God gave Satan a different job. First, Satan was an angel in heaven, but after God kicked Satan out of heaven, God punished Satan by giving him a different job, and that job is to be the adversary, your adversary, and that's what Satan's been doing since the beginning of time, since he was cast down here down to earth. He was Adam and Eve's adversary, the doubting Thomas that's always there, mocking him, insulting him, manipulating him. That's his job. He was born to be the adversary, he was cast down to be the adversary after he filled his job, up in heaven. After he caused the ruckus in heaven, God cast him down and forced him to be the adversary for eternity until God decides to lessen his punishment. So do not see sin as anything special, or anything more powerful than God. Sin has never been more powerful than God in any way, shape, or form. God can erase Satan in a heartbeat. Satan is just like me and you. In reference to God, in comparison to God, Satan's no different from us. He has no power related to God in any way, shape, or form. He cannot harm God in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't have the power to revolt without God's, tacit approval. Just as God gives you tacit approval to sin, God gave him the tacit approval to do whatever he wants. But because he gave him that approval, it does not mean he's condoning his behavior. God is a very logical being. As a logical being, he created a world with cause and effect, right? If you put your arms in the open flame, you'll be burned. And if Satan sins, he'll be punished. If you sin, you'll be punished. So just because it's not that he allows you to sin, he allows you to do whatever you want, but you just have to know that whatever you want has consequences. This world is a logical world of cause and effect. If you do something, there always has to be an equal and opposite, reaction. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. For every cause, there's an equal effect. So if you do something bad, you have to gain the the downside of that. If you do something good, you gain the upside of that. So you always gain what the reward of what you sow. You reap what you sow, and that's how life works. Satan is not more powerful than you. Satan does not have any power over you. Satan cannot truly manipulate you without your consent. So do not really think of sin as anything special. He's not God's enemy in that sense. God doesn't have any enemies. Sin is incapable of being an enemy of God, because that God doesn't really have any enemies whatsoever. Do not think of Satan as some sort of enemy of God. Satan is just here to do a job. He's here to be the adversary. He's not here. It's simply his role to play. Satan is not doing it because he just loves doing it. It's literally what he was forced to do. It's his sin. It's his cause. It's a price that he has to pay. To be here on earth, to be the adversary, and to be your adversary, to test you. Is one of the people that are here to test you. And if you fail the test that God has for you, if you fail the test, well, it's cause and effect. If you sin, you go to hell. If you don't sin, if you repent, you go to heaven. Basic cause and effect. So do not think of sin as something more powerful than you think it is. If you ignore all the evil things that happen in this world, you try to be a kind person. Satan cannot do anything more than you think he's capable of. He cannot attack God. When Satan was waging a war in heaven, he was only waging a war against angels. We were just having a temper tantrum. When God decided to step in, that was when Satan was cast down from heaven. Satan could not even damage God in any way, shape, or form. Did not see the war in heaven as a war against God. God did not fight a single war he couldn't win. God did not fight a single war. Satan fought with the other angels. Satan did not fight God directly. The moment God decided to step in while Satan was throwing a temper tantrum, he was kicked down from heaven immediately. It was brought down to earth. So never think of Satan as someone more powerful than God. Do not be afraid of Satan. He's not more powerful than God and cannot do anything, bad to you as a kind person. As long as God is with you, Satan is incapable of doing anything. And Satan can only follow the cause and effect rule. No matter how much he tempts you, you can't just start doing bad things to you. Unless you've already been tempted and accepted, his offer, just like, Adam and Eve. Only after you've been only after you accept, the temptations of sin only then can sin harm you. If you never accept the temptation of Satan, sin will never be able to harm you in any way, shape, or form, because it's simply there as an adversary. He's not there to harm Christians. He's not there to harm good people. He's there to punish the bad people. He's simply there as a test. He's simply there as a punishment, giver. He's not really there himself to punish good people. He's not there to mislead. He's there to mislead you, but he's not there to force you. Just like he appeared with Jesus Christ. Do you see him try to force Jesus Christ to do anything? He can only speak words. He can only try to manipulate you. But you're the one that has to do the job yourself. You're the one that has to, he can only speak words and tempt you, but he can't really force you to do anything. You are the one that, that goes out, that takes your free will and decides to do what Satan tempted you to do. And if you follow what Satan tempted you to do, you have to pay the cost of that. And do not blame God for basic cause and effect. If you stick your arms in an open flame, you will be burned. If you get tempted by Satan and start doing evil things, you'll be burned. Do not blame God for basic cause and effect. This is how the world works. There are basic rules in this world, and if you don't follow those rules, do not blame God for not, bending the rules for you. God is not here to bend the rules for you. Everyone has to follow the same rules, just like Jesus Christ did. If Jesus Christ had sinned, he would have also had to pay the price of his sin, but he did not. He had a strong will. He had a strong mind, and he was not tempted by Satan in any way, shape, or form. If you can have a strong mind, sin will have no effect whatsoever on you. But that's it for today's episode. I think it's probably a short one, but yeah, I'll talk to you guys later. Have fun.